3:12 a.m. The Strait of Hormuz. An Arleigh Burke class destroyer patrols the blockade. Suddenly, the radar screams red alert. Dozens of high-speed blips rush the ship from every angle. It looks like a furious swarm zeroing in for the kill. Iran just unleashed a massive swarm attack. In exactly 90 seconds, dozens of IRGC fast boats will hit rocket range. Can the U.S. Navy react fast enough, or will the Strait of Hormuz become a graveyard? Global politics just flipped. Diplomatic lines are completely dead. Washington's maximum pressure campaign finally pushed Tehran straight into a corner. Fighting for absolute survival, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps triggers Operation Hormuz's gatekeeper. The goal? Seize absolute control over the most critical maritime choke point on Earth. Iran is done handing out empty threats. They want protection money now. Any Western oil tanker that dares to cross the Strait of Hormuz will be sunk right to the bottom. 3:20 a.m. Sitting dead center in the storm is an Arleigh Burke-class Flight 3 destroyer, a $2 billion Lockheed Martin masterpiece. But it is not fighting alone. High above, Boeing's P-8A Poseidon watches everything. The Navy's top airborne command and control hub beams real-time mapping data straight to the fleet. The Poseidon instantly spots mobile missile launchers and a swarm of high-speed threats. Enemy boats break from cover. To build a recon net, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter instantly takes flight. It drops sonar buoys and specialized gear, hunting for deadly acoustic mines hidden deep in the murky water. 3:30 a.m. Over the Strait of Hormuz, the digital fog gets dense. The P-8A Poseidon stops just watching. The airborne command center switches directly to attack coordination. The flight crew drops a string of advanced radio buoys. Built to hunt submarines, these sensors are quickly recalibrated. Now they track the exact roar of IRGC speedboat engines through the crashing waves. A highly precise, real-time digital map locks in the exact location of the Iranian fleet. That raw data is heavily encrypted and instantly flashed to the fleet via Link 16. 3:35 a.m. Using that data, skirting the absolute edge of the kill zone, the Seahawk helicopter launches the first physical strike. They fire from 8 kilometers out, safely beyond the reach of Iran's heavy machine guns. The flight crew locks onto the enemy command boats using their electro-optical system. 2 Hellfire missiles rip off the rails. They streak through the dark, dragging long tails of fire. The laser-guided warheads smash the lead boats to pieces in a blinding flash of fire and jagged shrapnel. The IRGC formation breaks as their command center burns. Panic sets in. Comms between the smaller speedboats completely fall apart. 3:40 a.m. The enemy launches a fierce, asymmetric counterattack. An electronic wall goes up. Hundreds of Ababil decoy drones pour out of coastal caves, swarming the Arleigh Burke destroyer's SPY-6 radar. 50 original targets instantly explode into 500 flickering, ghostly radar blips. The Aegis combat system fights to sort the real threats from intense metal clutter and heavy electronic jamming. Meanwhile, Fajr, 5 launchers hidden on the coastal cliffs, open up, unleashing a massive barrage of rockets. They do not aim for the hull. Instead, they dump hundreds of rockets directly into the water, trapping the U.S. destroyer inside a tight grid. Massive 15-meter water columns explode upward. It builds a thick, continuous wall of saltwater spray and hot steam, completely swallowing the ship. It is a tactical smokescreen, perfectly designed to blind infrared sensors and laser rangefinders. It forces the trapped crew to fight through an incredibly tense ocean of digital static and physical chaos. 3:47 a.m. The fight hits a boiling point. Iranian coastal batteries finally start locking onto the U.S. fleet. The Arleigh Burke class destroyer instantly initiates close air defense operations. Grabbing coordinates off the P-8A, the Mark 41 vertical launch system spits a brutal salvo of guided missiles. They vaporize the enemy launchers the second those radars lock on. Simultaneously, the ship's electronic warfare system blasts a massive, highly concentrated energy beam. It completely fries the receivers inside the enemy's coastal radar units. This brutal mix of firepower and electronic jamming opens a sudden blind spot right along the Iranian coast. A tiny window the U.S. Navy was waiting to exploit. 3:50 a.m. With main air bases swamped by long-range interception missions, a pair of A-10C Thunderbolt IIs from the Ford Al-Dhafra base were urgently scrambled. These Warthogs were specially trained for exactly this kind of swarm-busting scenario. Unlike fast, supersonic fighters, the A-10 maintains a steady, slow cruise at 300 knots. Pair that with sniper advanced targeting and night vision, and it becomes the ultimate predator, patient enough to hunt down every fast-moving boat across the pitch-black open sea. 3:55 a.m. Exploiting a blind spot, the two Warthogs dive down the mountain, breaking through the clouds. Dodging early warning systems, they aggressively weave through the 150-meter sheer limestone cliffs right along the Iranian coastline, hugging the rugged terrain to stay completely off the radar. Dropping out of nowhere at an altitude of just 30 meters, their wings practically sliced right through the foaming white ocean waves. IRGC soldiers absolutely panicked as the deafening screech of jet engines tore through the air right above their heads. Over the engine roar, the A-10 pilots pushed through shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles and suicide drones, desperately lunging for their air intakes. 4 a.m. The dark sky suddenly blazed with a chaotic web of tracer rounds and flares. American pilots fought through crushing 7 G-turns right above the water. Blood pooled in their feet, vision narrowed to a tunnel, all just to dodge the relentless storm of drones and missiles. They continuously pumped out chains of magnesium heat-seeking decoys, burning at a blistering 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, creating blinding flashes that violently bounced off the pitch-black sea. Right through the chaos, the A-10 formation stabilized. The pilots locked onto targets through their heads-up displays. The GAU-8 Avenger cannon finally let loose. That terrifying, distinctive cannon roar echoed out, totally drowning the crashing ocean waves. Every single second, 65 30mm depleted uranium rounds shredded every obstacle. They turned the speedboat fleet into a horrific graveyard, flaming debris and thick oil slicks choking the water. 4:10 a.m. While the surface battle raged, a terrifying, invisible new threat began rising up from the pitch-black depths below. The Seahawk chopper immediately switched its multi-mode radar to high-resolution short-range scanning, hunting for tiny objects hovering near the water's surface. The sensors started pulling in faint metallic pings, hovering mere inches above the churning waves. Those were not waves. They were the deadly, rhythmic signatures of Iran's Maham-class smart mines. Highly advanced explosives anchored to the ocean floor, rigged to blow by acoustic or magnetic triggers. The pilot's voice cracked over the secure comms on emergency priority. The Vampire is not our only threat. We have a massive underwater minefield at coordinates 7 Alpha. Hard turn, right now. 4:15 a.m. Inside the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer's Combat Information Center, the mood instantly snapped from offensive strike to pure survival mode. The captain screams for an emergency stop, carving into a vicious, hard starboard turn. The 9,000-ton destroyer violently heels over. Its massive hull groans under the insane stress. narrowly dodging a mine cluster that would have snapped the ship right in half. The ship's sonar quickly detected the Maham minefield. It was heavily mined, with living torpedoes, semi-submersible suicide boats fast closing in. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer was suddenly caught in a brutal pincer movement. Stay totally stationary, take a hit to sweep the mines, or move out to dodge the suicide boats and risk hitting a submerged explosive. 4:20 a.m. This is the ultimate tactical trap. If the U.S. destroyer tries evading those suicide boats, it risks detonating a Maham mine. If it holds position to sweep for mines, the ship becomes an easy sitting duck for the incoming wave of IRGC suicide surface units. You can cut the tension with a knife. The swarm's second wave, faster, far more aggressive than the first, starts accelerating hard. These speedboats are explicitly built to ram ships right at the waterline. They target thin hull steel to trigger instant, catastrophic flooding. The American crew is totally trapped, right between the minefield and those incoming suicide boats. They have seconds to choose: get slowly sunk or get blown up instantly. 4:25 a.m. With his fleet completely pinned, the destroyer's captain authorized the nuclear option of non-kinetic warfare, firing up the absolute full power of their electronic warfare systems. This wasn't just basic jamming. It was a massive, high-intensity electromagnetic wave attack. The destroyer's electronic arrays focused an incredibly powerful radio frequency beam, sweeping it right across the Strait of Hormuz. The impact was instant. Stripped of their GPS signals and command links, the remaining Ababil decoy drones just started dropping from the sky like dead birds. The IRGC suicide swarm instantly lost its cohesion. Without central command, the blinded speedboats started crashing into each other in the pitch-black darkness. Pilots flying blind, navigation screens showing nothing but dead white static. 4:30 a.m. With the electronic fog lifting, the warship pulled its defensive perimeter tight, bracing for the final rain of steel. Raytheon's Phalanx Close in defense system, affectionately nicknamed the Angry R2D2, started its automatic search and destroy cycle. Its internal radar locks onto anything moving faster than 20 knots inside a 1.5-mile radius. The M61A 20mm Vulcan cannon starts spinning its barrels, spitting a relentless stream of tungsten armor-piercing shells at 4,500 rounds per minute. Muzzle flashes light up the pitch-black sky as the Phalanx shreds those living torpedoes. They were less than 500 meters from the ship's hull. 4:35 a.m. Right then, the 5-inch Mark 45 Mod 4 naval gun at the bow activates. Built by BAE Systems, it unleashes a rapid-fire barrage. It fires off air-burst shells, packing multi-function fuses. Programmed to detonate exactly 3 meters above the water, these rounds create a brutal cone of fire. It floods the zone with thousands of flying shrapnel fragments. That molten metal rain wiped out the very last IRGC speedboats, the ones that somehow dodged the initial Phalanx barrage. The Strait of Hormuz, once swarming with Iranian aggression, instantly became a graveyard of sinking hulls and shattered ambitions. The U.S. Navy did not just survive this blockade. They systematically tore apart the IRGC naval doctrine in mere minutes. Tehran's greatest hope was snuffed out by the flawless integration of U.S. fire control and electronic superiority. 4:45 a.m. The battle's momentum officially flipped. Desperate defense turned into all-out, ruthless retaliation. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer was no longer the prey. It was the hunter. High above, the Boeing P-8A Poseidon used its APY-10 radar to pierce the gunfire and sea spray, pinpointing the aggression's exact source. Hidden IRGC missile silos and sub-bunkers, carved deep right into the limestone cliffs on Kesham Island. Those target coordinates beamed in real time to the A-10 Warthogs. The Warthogs circled back for one final strike, this time carrying Raytheon GBU-12 Paveway 2 laser bombs. Guided dead-on by the Poseidon's laser targeting system, the A-10s dropped their payloads. The bombs slammed the cave entrance with absolute precision. This triggered massive secondary explosions from hidden ammo depots, collapsing the IRGC secret bunkers completely, burying those remaining reserve forces under thousands of tons of crushed rock. 5 a.m. The blockade was permanently shattered. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer pushed deep into the main shipping lane. It asserted absolute control, leaving behind the smoking ruins of a wildly ambitious, failed campaign. Tehran's gatekeeper operation was systematically ripped apart in under 2 hours flat. The strategic edge Iran desperately wanted the power to hold global oil hostage simply vanished into the morning mist. All that remained was the smell of burning fiberglass and shattered ambitions. But what if Iran never actually launched that reckless, suicidal swarm attack? What if Tehran opted for a stealthy strategy instead, relying purely on secretly dropping mines and laying low? They could have dragged the U.S. into a grueling, weeks-long, mine-sweeping nightmare, stalling the entire global economy through pure instability. But by choosing open aggression, they walked blindly right into the Pentagon's trap. They handed the U.S. Navy a clear target, allowing A-10s and destroyers to turn the chokepoint into a live fire range. Iran did not just lose a quick naval skirmish. It sacrificed its absolute most powerful geopolitical asset. One single tactical miscalculation by the IRGC. It caused their greatest hope for regional dominance to crash into a swift, humiliating defeat.